believe that the Great Reset already happened. Now, of course, there are still chances because we are still, I think, restructuring. The Great Reset happened when COVID started or when it ended also, because the people who were supposed to grow on social media, they got their followers, they achieved it. People who got rich from crypto, they got rich. Maybe they lost it again, I'm not sure, with trading. But yeah, the Great Reset, I think, was after 2020. Maybe we still have another few years before it turns to 2030. Many are saying and talking about 2030 also being like the dead end, where you need to at least do something with AI, learn a skill with AI, or at least be a crypto millionaire.
To adopt and you want to create, you can do it right now for the first time ever in history this week.
If someone has a limited budget, which subscription services should they pay for and at what level?
It really depends on your use case. I think for most people, it actually doesn't matter that much. Whether you use Gemini or whether you use ChatGPT, we're talking about like the $20 level. For most people, that's completely fine. For anyone that's actually doing any sort of deep research, business analysis, that's actually starting businesses, running a business, even if it's a small one, you should probably pay up for like a $200 a month style subscription.
And which one? How do you know which one to purchase?
Well, again, it really
The same question that I went to. Now, of course, they're talking about the 200 packages. I was talking to all three: Gemini, ChatGPT, and Grok. And I think there are many also others, but I spoke mainly to three of them. Give me the differences. And I started researching. Until this day, I started with ChatGPT. I'm not sure and I don't know how to leave it and when to leave it, because I started seeing difference also. Grok gives proper information. Actually, it's like a human to a human talking to you, and he's giving you live updates also. This is something good about Grok. I did not notice this with ChatGPT. It's like it doesn't even exist. The time, the time level or the day and the year, it doesn't even exist with ChatGPT. I did not test Gemini properly, but because I heavily use X, I'm using Grok sometimes. Yeah, and I found difference. Now for Grok, I think it's around $30 or $40 higher than ChatGPT, but that includes, of course, the X features, also X Premium.
depends on your use case. And right now, today, everything has changed in the last 2 weeks. So I guess I just answered the question as if we were doing this show 2 weeks ago. But the reality is today, now that we live in a world of agentic AI, not every AI company has put out their full agentic AI stack. So today, Anthropic has put out something that they call Cowork, right? And Anthropic Cowork essentially gives you the ability not just to run a prompt, but to actually have numerous agents. It's like having a multitude of employees, and you simply tell it what you want to do, and it will.
Are they doing it accurately? This is the question, because you can benefit from these things, especially in the customer service field. Whether I'm working for someone and I can use them, or if I want to open my business also. I still think that we are in this level where they're not even answering the questions properly. Most of the softwares that I'm using, or sorry, when I'm on some websites and I'm using them, AI agents still sucks that they're not giving you the proper answers, for example. If you're talking, now, of course, they're talking about AI agents. What I've tested with ChatGPT, it did not work properly for me because it was not doing the proper tasks that I asked her to do. There was some feature of some AI agent feature. I don't think it's completely developed with them, but still, I think it's still in the early stages. Sorry.
We'll have 5, 6, 7 agents. One will be running a marketing department. One will be running a tech stack for you, and it will piece together all the things that it needs to piece together in order to accomplish any task or any goal that you have. And it will work 24 hours a day, right? So it's not just like putting in a prompt and waiting for an answer and then copy and pasting and doing it the way we've been doing it through ChatGPT the last couple of years. Now, there is another way to do this, which I think most people are adopting in the last couple of weeks, and you've probably heard of OpenClaw, right? It's gone through a few different naming changes, but this is essentially the same thing, except it's open source. It's not run by a big model. And because it's open source, it's completely free. So everyone's going out right now and buying Mac Minis, and they're basically running OpenClaw, and you don't have to be a technologist to do this. Anyone in the world can do this really easily. You just simply tell it, hey, I want to start this business. How do I do this? What do I need to do? And you set up OpenClaw with its own email account. You set it up with its own social media accounts. You set it up with its own credit card if you want, with its own limits. It's its own person, and it runs on a Mac Mini. And the reason why you want to run it on a Mac Mini is because it's new and because it's open source. So the safety standards aren't really there yet. So it becomes an employee. And in fact, it can become an employee that's managing 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 employees, because it will create other agents inside of itself to do an infinite number of things. So
That's actually very impressive. It's a great idea, actually. So we need to study more about
it
this.
will actually run a business for you from A to Z on its own. And that's what's been happening
How
the
is
last
that
2 weeks.
possible? To me, that just doesn't seem feasible, that you could tell it this idea, like, I want to make this app that does this, do it. That it'll actually go and like make the app and put it on the app store and charge your card for it. And like, how?
Graham, it's doing all of it. I know. This is why I haven't slept in 2 weeks. I mean, this is why.
I don't think it's doing all of it by themselves. Like, you need to interact somewhere. You need to put also the work as a human. Otherwise, it's a lost case for all of us. We will seriously stay without jobs then.
I initially missed the first, when we were supposed to be doing this show a couple days ago, and I just didn't even realize, because my life is this crazy. I can't keep up with the technology the last couple of weeks. So, what I do as an investor. I essentially spend 4 hours a day dissecting thousands and thousands of comments on videos to try to surface change in the world, right? Cultural shifts, consumer behavioral shifts. And then I try to connect the dots of that change to investable opportunities in the stock market. And that's what a social arb trader does. That's what I've been doing for 18 years. There are a lot of people that follow me, obviously. And there are at least 6 people that I know of in the last week that have set up OpenClaw boxes and said, I want you to replicate everything that Chris Camillo does. And a few of these people have actually put the results and have shown.
Working out, preparing for the summer. It's only now the shredding that's remaining. I need to start eating properly.
It working on X, and it works 24 hours a day doing everything that I do. So it actually goes into TikTok and it starts watching videos. It runs through comments. It knows what words to look for. It knows to look for words like sold out everywhere, obsessed. So it understands my methodology, and it knows what to search for on TikTok. And then it scans comments and it evaluates what's trending and.
Man, this is completely insane. The level of advancement, it's really scary. Can we really achieve this?
Time, and then it extrapolates what might be a good investment to make. This was done in 48 hours. They basically replicated 18 years of my work in 48 hours on a Mac Mini, just voice prompting, hey, can you replicate what Chris Camillo does? It researched me, and then it started a company, and it started doing this in real time. And so I'm just one very niche individual with a niche business, right? It can do this for any business in the world. In fact, like this is the most exciting piece of this, in that I'm calling it like the Great Reset. Okay. And I'm so excited for it because there's so much negativity around AI right now. Everything that you just talked about, with so much of the benefit of AI getting concentrated to one class of people, it doesn't have to be that way. This is the first time in my lifetime where the future is not necessarily owned by those with the most credentials or the most money or the best education. It's owned by anyone in the world that's willing to adopt quickly and create. So, Gen Z has been complaining for a very long time, and they have a valid complaint that they don't have the opportunity that boomers had. Right. And we could all agree that to an extent, the pathway for them isn't as clear. They could spend a lot of money on education and still end up with no job, in debt, and no clear pathway to success and financial freedom in their life. Well, right now, anyone in the world that is willing to adopt and create can do what I just told you, because for the past 20 years,
you can do it as simple as it is. There is no way, man. There is no way. And hopefully it's OpenClaw. Hopefully it's not only on OS. There is no way that you can achieve this like easily. We need to research this. I need to research because it's amazing if you can do such a thing.
If you wanted to start a business, you would have to raise money. You would have to build a team. You would usually have to understand technology or have to communicate what you were trying to build through a technologist. And it would take a lot of time. There's a tremendous amount of risk involved with all of that. And because of that, most of the world's problems did not mandate starting a business to fix them. Because even if you had the solution to a problem, the cost of actually implementing that solution was way too high for that particular problem. So the business wasn't viable. Now, every single solution to every single problem in the world is theoretically viable. So there are millions, tens of millions of nuanced problems throughout every industry, every sector, even in people's personal lives. Every single one of those problems is solvable with AI for the most part.
Asking ChatGPT about your relationship, the advices, or if you're having some disease, if you're sick, you have some illness.
And all you have to do is surface the problem and have the wherewithal to go out and adopt and spend 2 or 3 days of your life learning how to use these tools, and you do not have to be a technologist.
How do you start learning about these? What's the first step?
This is my point. I want to learn now about this. Is it really that you can create and they can manage everything? And the first thing that I do, it's wait, it needs access or what? Sponsors, okay, stay in loop, get updates. You can access, it's released, right? New open. Can you access this or no? As I told you, we need to research it.
Step. You go on TikTok, you go on the search bar, you type in the word AI, and you filter down for videos that have come out in the last week, and you just watch 40 of them. That's it. Then you go on to X, and you essentially do the same exact thing. And there are numerous people, hundreds and hundreds of people that are excited to show you how to use this tool and get ramped up in 24 hours as a complete newbie that has no technological background. Okay. You do not need to know how to do.
Okay. See, we are seeing such videos. We are seeing them. I'm seeing them also. Yeah. But still you need investment. Yeah, it's not that you need investment. You need to spend something also on them. It's literally that you pay over year 20 and then 40 and then 60 and then you end up with maybe $300, $400 to start a business. It's literally the same thing as maybe using Shopify, for example. If you'll go subscribe on Shopify where they can set up your website with a small subscription and then the rest is yours to sell the products. Same thing. But the idea of OpenClaw when he was talking and then it programmed for you an application, place it on Apple Store, upload it over there, and then use your credit card. These things are insane to believe.
Anything. I'll give you a very specific example. Okay. You can pick any business, an HVAC business, a sprinkler business. There are millions of these businesses. Almost none of them are willing to embrace AI right now. You can simply go to one of them and say, hey, I'm an AI guy. Give me one area where you're leaking money, one area where your business is leaving money on the table, and I'm going to fix that for you for free. And they might say,
please give an example. Yeah, continue.
Hey, we are slow to react to phone calls that come in late at night.
Okay, bro, come on. This is one of the ideas. Yes, phone calls. Okay, understood. Customer service, and this thing came to my mind the first thing. It helps me a lot, especially if I want to continue my job where I need a team. I'm acting as a manager now, yeah, and I'm facing problems exactly with what he's saying. Every business, I think, has this problem with customer service. But this is not our problem. This is not why we want to use this advanced AI technology. It's solvable. This problem is easy to solve. We need some advanced, but let's continue. Maybe
sometimes we don't respond to them at all, or by the time we respond to them, they've then contacted one of our competitors. In 24 hours, you can set up an AI agent that will answer those calls, send out immediate automated text responses, then get that person signed up and get them a quote bid in next to real time. You can have it integrate with every single service that business uses currently. It could input into their CRM. Okay. It could email all the people
old. Yeah, okay. These things, as I said, they exist, and maybe it's advanced now with the help of AI. Maybe they can even come closer to the human tone or human touch. But still, this example is simple. We need the level where he said that they can use your own credit cards, they can upload, they can code, they can set up everything for you.
Within the business that need to know about that, including the business owner. You can set that all up within days for that business at essentially very close to no cost. You just fixed a huge problem for them. You might increase that company's revenue by 5 to 15% in 2 or 3 days. Immediately, you become invaluable, and you just probably picked up a client that will pay you $2,000 or $3,000 to be their AI guy to fix all their other problems. You can replicate that across 10 or 20 other businesses and probably make $500,000 a year. There are people right now doing this. They just started in the last week. Historically, like during the dot-com boom, the gold rush was trying to pick the right company to work for. I was part of that. If you pick the right company, you get your stock options, and 2 or 3 years later, you're a millionaire, even if you're 22 years old. And I had so many friends that were that age that became millionaires overnight because they picked the right company. You pick the wrong company, maybe you end up with nothing. This is a very different gold rush for this generation. It's not about who they pick to work for. They have to do it on their own. But the opportunity is near infinite. The difference is the window is very small. So you have to do it right now, like this year. Not like in 6 months, not in 9 months, but like today. So over the course of the last week, I've probably gotten 15 calls from people in my network that told me they were about to quit their job. Some of them were 23, 24. Some of them were in their mid-30s. Some of them were in their 40s because they got a box, they got a Mac Mini, they got this set up, and they said, Chris, I can literally start any business in the world and have it running in 48 hours. I've never seen anything like this. Every hour matters. I cannot give up.
Guys, if this works, if this seriously works, because I will put now effort in this OpenClaw, not only the website OpenClaw, like what's happening with the AI. If it really works, then I am resigning. I will leave.
Hours. I must quit my job. So if you're young and you've been complaining because, the world was jaded against you and you did not have any opportunity, you just got it.
So one word answer, should every single person at the end of this podcast, not right now, but at the end of this podcast, buy a Mac Mini and download OpenClaw?
No.
Okay, so not everybody.
For anyone that is willing to adopt and create.
Yeah.
Yes, you should do that tomorrow.
Would you say the highest leverage AI for the average person out there, not for a very specific person, but the average person, would be OpenClaw, would be number one, and then maybe just a basic Gemini or ChatGPT or something like that?
I wouldn't think of it like that. First of all, they're all changing every week. So whatever we decide on today is going to be different in 3 or 4 weeks. They're all evolving their models. They all do things slightly differently. If you want to have an entire company operating 24 hours a day, then you have to have agentic AI. You have to have agents.
So if you look at the monitor that is being used for this OpenClaw agent AI thing, it's literally just like windows that are scrolling and then clicking buttons and then creating a Gmail account.
You could think of it like that, exactly. Yes.
Simultaneous.
You'll wake up in the morning and you could see everything that it's done for you over the course of the night, and you can communicate back and forth with it. It will even help you decide what the best business is for you to start, right? So based on things that are happening.
When I tested this on ChatGPT, it opened for me a small window in the middle, and it started doing what I asked her to do. Like how maybe to manage my X account, Twitter account. The thing is that it went on a default browser by itself. You need to be maybe specific with the commands. It opened the browser. She can easily, because both of my passwords are saved on both of the browsers, Chrome and what was the other one called? Anyways, the Microsoft one. It opened a browser within the browser that she was operating from, the ChatGPT. And then when it entered Twitter, x.com, they asked for my credentials. She did not know the credentials, so it got stuck over there. So this is where I think still they're in the beginning of stages. I'm not sure how advanced they became because I tested this maybe 3-4 months ago, but still I don't see it as that useful personally, like for your personal life. But maybe if you want to build a company and you're giving this AI agent all the information, maybe they can make it work. And I remember also on ChatGPT, it was very slow actually. The window when it was moving, the mouse and everything, the information typing and the scrolling, it was very slow actually.
In your city, based on your interest, based on your expertise, based on your relationships, on your contacts. It will help you figure out what would be the best business for it to start for you.
And the difference between OpenClaw and something like ChatGPT is that ChatGPT doesn't really have a true.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. He has to think because he's a person also, he's very successful, of course. He's a person who worked by himself his entire life, for example, or who achieved all of these things by himself. So listening to this, it's really weird because you can literally, as he said, as the other guy said, I forgot his name, that what he did in 18 years, it was done in 48 hours, he said.
Memory. That is correct. But OpenClaw sort of actually can compound exorbitant amounts of data and synthesize the data and then act on the data.
So what OpenClaw can do is it can document and then store, right? The same way that you guys do. It will have documents. It has files. It creates things and then it saves them in files. So now you have that. It's not just living, right, as part of an index that an AI has to tap into. It literally creates regular files on a regular computer, just like you do. It works just like a human does. If it needs to make phone calls, it will make phone calls for you. It will create a voice and it will make the phone calls if you give it the ability to do so and if you allow it to do so. There are people out there that have amazing ideas, but they don't have the resources, the money, the network, the team, the technical know-how. None of that matters anymore. We are going through a great reset where if you have an idea in your head and you are willing to adopt and you want to create, you can do it right now for the first time ever in history this week. Like there are people that understand this because every phone call I take, the people are borderline in tears when they speak to me. They're like, Chris, have you seen, do you understand what's happening right now? Do you understand what I just built last night? I cannot believe it. Like, this is every conversation I have with someone that's building on agentic AI right now. There are actually no words to describe how mind-melting the capabilities are because you no longer have to go through all these systems and all these blockages that you used to in the past. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I've wanted to do a billion things. I did like a very small number of them because of all the friction involved with going from an idea to a product. There's virtually no friction anymore. I know it's hard to believe, but there's like virtually no friction with so many of at least these digital ideas. You know what? This does remind me, I have this feeling that I've had the last 2 weeks, and I haven't felt it since the early days of COVID. February 2020 is the last time my body felt like this, where it was like a very small number of people know about something and like the entirety of the rest of the world is just going on with their life. And you're like, why isn't every single human on earth talking about this right now? I really was excited to dive into the Epstein stuff when it finally came out, and it's came out the last 2 weeks. I have not spent 1 minute of my day reading Epstein stuff, watching the videos. Like, I see the headlines and I'm like, I don't even care about it anymore. I was so waiting for this to happen. Like, I wanted to go down the rabbit hole of seeing like all the truth and who's involved, and I don't even care. And I think once you know what's happening, you're oblivious to everything else happening in the world. I haven't watched TV in 2 weeks. I haven't done anything other than this. And I think all of the people that are in this world that are either building with AI agents right now or have friends that are building that they're watching or who are hyperactive in this community on X, or like they can't think about anything else because they're like, dude, this is like the biggest thing that's ever happened in our life. And we don't even know where it's going next. Like, we don't even know. Like, you saw what happened to the SaaS companies. Like, that's because a handful of people on institutional Wall Street are in this world and are seeing this. And they're like, holy crap, this is happening. Like, okay, we can make a case that a lot of these SaaS companies have massive amounts of security and massive amounts of learning over 20 years, and they're not going to be just displayed.
We need to start this. We need to start going through OpenClaw. We need to produce something over there.
But wow, are they going to be disrupted the next 5 years? Because there's so many options now. You can have your agents basically replicate most of that stuff on the fly. And it might not work for a big company that has to, be aware of the code base and has to make sure it's maintainable and has to make sure that the security is tight and, has 50,000 things that they figured out with Salesforce over the past 20 years that they're not going to go through all of that.
Now, yeah, see, exactly. They're making fun in the comments, but I think there is some truth to it. And plus, I gave an example, a very old example, Shopify. Shopify, almost close to it. And I think in the future it will happen also. They might even put AI agents over there, where you will build your own website, put your products, put everything over there, and then one AI agent can control it for you. So the idea is there, but you need to put effort. This is the thing. That's why I think they're making fun also of what's happening over here. Because it's still not that simple. You need to put work in it, and the friction will be there. He's saying there is no friction. No, there is friction. There is friction in setting up all of these things. Sometimes, even when I'm logging in, even when I want to log in and the password goes wrong, I lose hope and I just shut down the website immediately. If I'm doing something, for example. So there's still this friction. Maybe he meant friction in another way, but I mean, yeah, you need to struggle. Struggling will happen till maybe you set up this ultimate work bot, and then maybe it goes from there. Especially if you want to sell a product, maybe, then you need to move to marketing. You need to spend money, spend more and more money, marketing and sales, or sales and marketing, sorry. But other than that, I think AI agents are helpful. It's not their time now. Maybe we need another 2 years. And most of the people who will benefit from them are business owners, of course, especially service industry. Very, very, very useful to my industry. If my plan goes according, if everything goes according to my plan, if I own my business in the future, hopefully, or if I continue working in my field, hospitality industry, which is an extension, of course, after finishing my my work experience, after getting the proper work experience, and when I get the proper capital, maybe I can invest in something. Either way, very useful. OpenClaw, yes, we heard about it a lot recently. I don't think it's still something good to invest in. Maybe you need to study it from far away and see what other advancements will happen so that you can adapt at least. Studying is 100% correct. You need to read. I sometimes take the whole script of a YouTube video, for example, or of a podcast, ChatGPT, make it in an article, let me read it. And I start reading them as books. You don't get any real-time information also from books, for example. So you need to go and start searching somewhere on X, maybe asking Grok, ChatGPT, getting articles, getting studies, recent studies, and maybe converting podcasts like these, for example. You go to their transcript. Where was the transcript? And it gives you everything. Sorry. Yeah, over here. Show transcript. Just copy paste it or take the whole link and let the AI do its job, print it on a paper and start studying. This is what I'm doing actually. Anyways,